I'll call the February 11, 2014 meeting of Erlanger City Council to order. Ask if you please stand for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice that it's warm enough for us to finally get together. Roll call, Ms. Hoffman.
Mr. Longshore. Mr. Burr.
Here.
Mr. Dunhoff.
Here.
Ms. Skidmore.
Here.
Ms. Sudkamp. Here. Ms. Pitts.
Here.
Ms. Kyle.
Here.
Ms. Cahill.
Here.
Mr. Cahill.
Present.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Blankenship.
Here.
Mr. Howard.
Here. We have a quorum. Mr. Longshore has notified us that he was unavoidably detained at work, so we'll miss Shane this evening. You should have received copies of the special council meeting of January 14th, 2014. Are there any corrections or additions to be made at this time? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Ms. Kyle, second by Mr. Blankenship. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. First, special presentations. The Northern Kentucky Police Chiefs Association, they have a Chief Charles T. Donaldson Leadership Award. The Northern Kentucky Police Chiefs Association recognizes the need to identify and bestow appropriate honor on law enforcement personnel. The Charles T. Donaldson Leadership Award is given annually to recognize an outstanding Northern Kentucky police officer who demonstrates the characteristics of leadership and community service, shows outstanding accomplishments on the job, and performs special acts and services to the public interest. He doesn't know it, but this year's winner is Chief Mark Fields, and he was nominated by Chief Bob Aarons. So, former Chief Mark Fields, congratulations. You've won the Charles T. Donaldson Award. I'd stand if I could, but I can't, so I won't. Speech.
Thank you.
No, thanks. No speech. We have a couple of service award recognitions tonight. Chief Aarons.
I guess due to the cancellations of however many times we canceled this meeting, I don't see Chad Girdler, so that was probably my fault for not telling him that it was going to be tonight. I thought I sent him an email saying when it was canceled, it was going to reschedule for tonight, but he's not here with us. So, Dave Polly. What can I say about Dave? I think Dave loves his job, truly loves his job. He's a very passionate, caring person and cares about who he talks to, not only on the phone, but on the other side of the radio. And I can say that the guys that work the road, patrol officers, love to hear Dave on the other side of the radio because Dave goes above and beyond the call of duty. He not only dispatches the call, but he's constantly searching for other information to relate to the officer responding to the call. He cares a lot about his job. He was hired back in 2004 as a part-time call taker. In 2008, he completed dispatch telecommunication training down in Richmond, became a full-time telecommunicator in 2008. Not only does he do a great job, but it was recognized twice in his career, which is remarkable in a 10-year span so far. He received the two department awards. First, he received the Life-Saving Award from the police department for talking a woman and two children out of leaving their burning home and going to a bedroom window to be rescued by the police in a fire. Second, he received a Meritorious Service Award from the fire department. for his efforts in assisting the fire department in attempting to save a child from a burning home. Can't say enough about Dave. He's always there when we need him, whether it's overtime or when other fellow dispatchers need a person to talk to. He's always there. Dave, I'm proud to have you on the team.
Now it's a time for the mayor's report. We'll keep it topical this evening. This has been a very difficult 6 weeks for the city of Erlanger. The weather has been atrocious since first of the year. I got a new van on New Year's Eve, and I've driven it 3 times because of the weather. I was personally in my house for a week because I couldn't get out, and I had a bobcat come Sunday to dig me out so I could get there. I know everybody else is experiencing the same or similar. Some people fall in the ice carrying groceries and injure themselves. Some of us don't even bother to try. And I want you, the problems that we've had as regular residents, I want you to think about the work that's been done by our fire, EMS crews on the roads all the time, our police department constantly out there in the middle of this, and the work that our public works crew's done. Eddie, the work that your guys have done has been phenomenal. I hear from people all over northern Kentucky that they can get through Erlanger. Our streets are better than anything that you can see anywhere. I know some folks are happy. In Independence, I spoke with some folks out there, and they're doing some good work too, and I'm real happy to hear that. But you guys are the best. And not only the fact that they're doing it and the results are obvious to all of us, but when the weather is coming down in the middle of the wars, of the storms, these guys are out there fighting it. And again, our life squad, doesn't matter what the weather is, they're on, the call comes in, they're gone. Police, same thing. This is especially tough on our service personnel. It's especially tough on our vehicles. It's very tough on our equipment. But we're paying for the past 2 winters where we didn't have to do much of anything. So that's why they call it average. I've been very busy, and I've been very fortunate because I've been able to keep up with the city through the electronic tools that we now have at our disposal without having to come here to the city building as often as I've had to, and that's been good. There's been no slack in information. Of course, I didn't have the chance of catching whatever kind of bug you all had in the city building here because I wasn't here, but I think everybody's on the mend and we're back now. Hopefully we'll get a break in the weather and we'll continue. But it hasn't stopped the city of Erlanger. We're still doing the stuff that we have to do. People are being served. We're doing our jobs. Just had an interview, a meeting with 3 bright new candidates who will be going to police academy as soon as we can get them in a class to join our police department, and a lateral transfer who's excited to become part of our family. So it's a good time to be here at the city of Erlanger, and it's a good time to count our blessings as we head through the rest of the winter. As for me, I'm going to the legislature tomorrow to lobby our representatives to properly fund the Court of Justice, and then hopefully I can make it home, and we'll see. It's now time for the reports of standing committees, Public Safety and Police, Ms. Sudkamp and Ms. Pitts.
Let's see, we have a few letters. The first one is regarding Officer Adam Rigsby. Just want to send a formal thank you for the wonderful service provided to me on I-75 the night of January 19th. You epitomized the creed, protect and serve. Again, thank you, Stephen and Judith Boykin. And then another one. In early January at 3 a.m., my neighbor was out of state and a silent alarm was tripped. I was notified by ADT. A car was dispatched to the house next door. I want to commend Officer Selby for his professionalism. I spoke with him and he told me the extent of the search of the perimeter of the house, and I was sure it was a mistake. No footsteps in fresh snow. As for the car break-in, I'm sure these petty thieves will be caught in short order with police personnel on patrol in my neighborhood like Officer Selby, Gary Meyer, Kentucky Department of Revenue. And this one. I would like to take a moment to thank Police Officer Joe Scroggin for his assistance on a run January 20th in which a patient had fallen and injured his hip. Police Officer Scroggin went above and beyond to help the squad crew with this patient. He's always very helpful, but this time he outdid himself. Thanks so much for your help on EMS runs. It is greatly appreciated. Lieutenant Rhonda Wolf, Erlanger Fire and EMS. And
Nothing further. Chief's announced.
Any questions of the chief for the police committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to public safety and fire and EMS. Ms. Skidmore, Mr. Dunhoff.
Okay, I'll start us off with the actual monthly report. Since the fire and EMS department made a total of 256 responses for the month of December, which included 83 fire incidents and 173 EMS patients dispatches. There were 4 reported fires in the city of Erlanger and a total of 79 non-fire events during the month. EMS responses included a total of 141 transported, 2 treated with no transport, and 30 refusal dispatches during the month. And also, the chief writes, as I collected information to complete this report, I can't help think about the number of times our crews respond on a daily basis. Over 3,500 runs a year means that we are responsible for serving the public approximately 10 times a day. Making a positive impact, not to mention other public events such as fire education or special appearances, making a positive impact with those we serve should be viewed as an honor, not just a responsibility. And with that comes a couple of letters of thanks and kudos to some of our firefighters and EMS runs. It says, to whom it may concern, writing this to express my gratitude for the excellent care I was given by your crew, specifically Katie Kroger and Scott Lewis. They were very proficient in their skills and represented your department well. That's from Carol Lanehart. And this one was on February the 1st to the Monroe House. That's also part of Erlanger Baptist Village, I believe. It says, hello and thank you. I went by squad Saturday morning from Monroe House. Your 2 EMS guys were fantastic to me, and I want you to know how much it meant to me. It was Saturday, February 1st at approximately 11 a.m. They treated me like a princess, so may God bless and keep all of you in his hands. Vivian Landers.
Okay, I got a letter here. Dear Chief Whitaker, with this letter I hereby regretfully submit my resignation as a full-time firefighter paramedic from the City of Erlanger Fire Department. My resignation would be effective February 10th, 2014. I have accepted a full-time flight nurse job with the University of Cincinnati Medical Center Air Care and Mobile Care. I greatly appreciate the education and training opportunities at the City of Erlanger Fire Department. With your approval, I would like to remain a member of the fire department in a part-time firefighter paramedic role. Sincerely, Eric Robinette. And we'll accept his resignation.
He's going to be in Air Care.
Yes, he is.
That's
And-
exciting for him.
And Chief Whitaker's in the house.
Chief.
I would miss Eric greatly. He is it's a lifelong dream of his becoming a flight medic nurse.
I'll get the letter.
We
need to get these to Sherry, these letters.
Any questions of the committee or chief? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Public Works. Mr. Cahill, Mr. Brown.
Just a few of the highlights here from the Public Works report. The Public Works were dispatched 28 times for inclement weather over 19 days. They spread 940 tons of salt and spent 735 man-hours doing so. They also took delivery of 892 tons of bulk salt, just in case our weather continues in this manner. On top of that, they had a lot of other activities. They managed to patch 64 potholes, spent 159 hours working in the shine shop repairing signs, took care of some building maintenance, and my favorite part, they did some maintenance on the lawn mowing machines and replaced some wheels there. That means summer is coming, and eventually we'll be talking about mowing parks and right-of-ways and beautiful sunny things. Also wanted to make special note to thank Bill Martin, Diane Martin, Bruce Smith, and Monica Smith. They brought a hot meal up for the Public Works team on Tuesday, January 7th. This was much appreciated food and fellowship, and I just wanted to thank them. We also got dozens of calls, emails, Facebook comments, thanking Public Works for the excellent job they've done in January in our inclement weather. Mr. Cahill?
We do have one piece of correspondence we would like to share. I think it's very interesting. It came on January 27th. Mayor Rouse, I just wanted to express how impressed I am with your Public Works Department during these last snow events. They've done a great job on our streets in Deer Chase and on Narrows Road, and I just wanted to take this time to give them kudos for a job well done. I think I know what I'm talking about, being the Public Works Superintendent for Kenton County. We should be proud of the work they do and give them credit for a job well done. That's Chris Warnford on Deer Chase Drive. So
I got a copy of Chris's letter. I thought it was real cool.
That's awesome.
So that's all we have. And Ed?
Ed, you have anything to add? The good news is, fellas, we all been hearing it Friday, pitchers and catchers report. Any questions of the Public Works Committee? Or yes?
I just have a comment. I received lots of phone calls about our great job that we did also. They said they could go anywhere in Erlanger, because they left Erlanger, the road was kind of bad. But, you know, I have a comment for some of our citizens, and I hope that they take this seriously. Some people did not move their cars, and it makes it very difficult. I went driving around some of the streets, and I saw some of the narrow streets that they go on. It's remarkable what they do. And if these people would just move their cars, you know, we get all that snow out of the way, because now it's like ice packed. So if people, you know, when you hear that snow emergency, move your car so we can shovel it out.
I watched a news report of over in Cincinnati, and they showed a plow, the mirror on the truck knocked off the mirror of a parked car, and he didn't intend to knock the mirror off the parked car, but this guy's trying to move a multi-ton vehicle and move multi-tons of snow out of the way for everybody, and he got a car parked right in the middle of the road. You know, if you don't get your cars off the road, even accidents like that can happen. And I realize we do have people who have no place else to put their cars. I understand it, and that we deal with it, but you're much better off sticking it on the stub of your driveway than it is out in the street, because it's going to make it easier for everybody. But good point, Vicki. Very good. Any other questions for the committee? Okay, we'll go to administration. Mr. Burke, Committee of One tonight.
Yes, sir. I don't have much. Everybody should have received the administration report, but I want to report on so everybody knows, all the citizens, that the city building will be closed Monday the 17th for President's Day. And that's really all I have. Missy's in the house.
Ms. Andrus, any questions of the committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to the finance. Mr. Howard, Mr. Blankenship.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The staff's been busy working on the budget for the fiscal year 2015, and as well as the amended budget for 2014. And we have meetings scheduled with each of the department heads over the next 2 weeks. And with that in mind, we're requesting a Finance Committee meeting for February the 18th at 6:30 to discuss the audit contract for the next 3 years. So put that on your calendar for next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And I also want to remind everybody that there's a budget workshop coming up on March the 8th at 9 o'clock in the morning. It should not go past 12 noon. So, so I want to bring that up to your attention too. So,
okay.
And I believe Greg Engelman's in the house. And I don't know if you
Greg Engelman, you have anything? Mr. Blankenship, anything?
Nothing to add.
You've heard the committee. Are there any questions? We'll move on to the Friendship City Networking Committee. Ms. Kyle, Ms. Cahill.
Yes, I have a report on our Bravo battery. We want to thank everybody who made a donation to help send a soldier to their pre-deployment ball. We were able to send 4 soldiers, and this was a special bonding event for everyone, especially before being deployed again to Afghanistan. And it's my understanding that the city is still collecting donations. And if you are interested in donating, we have times and items listed on our website. So just go to our website and you can see what they need and what dates they need to be in. Also, we want to thank the St. Henry School students. They wanted to show their appreciation for the Erlanger and Ellesmere City departments by providing them with lunch on January 27th. Pizzas were delivered to the city buildings for all departments.
Okay, and the Erlanger Swim, Erlanger Family Fun Night at Silver Lake Recreation Center that was scheduled for Saturday, January the 25th, but it had to be rescheduled for Saturday, February the 8th due to the weather. Weather was better, but not that much better. It was better. There were 29 families signed up with a total of 126 people for the event. In actuality, 71 were in attendance for this event. I will say a lot of parents came in with kids that had colds or whatever. They were afraid to swim with them, but they did use the jumping and all that other activity, and they were glad. Cabin fever had set in, and they were really glad to get out. Then the Valentine party was on Sunday, February the 9th from 2 to 3:30. The City of Erlanger co-sponsored the Valentine party along with the Erlanger branch of the Kenton County Public Library. Goldie the Clown was there with balloon sculptures, face and hand painting, Valentine crafts and games, and a treat bag for all. There were about 60 children, and every child came with at least one adult, so there were at least 100 in attendance for that event. And then Monday, February the 10th, was the baseball field lottery from 6:30 to 8. That's the annual lottery to assign the baseball, softball fields to leagues planning to use Erlanger Fields, Silver Lake number 1, number 2, and Spring Valley. And that was held at the Erlanger City Building, and I heard all went well. And that's the end of my report. And Becky's in the...
Ms. Hopkins, do you have anything? Are there any questions of the committee or Becky? We'll move now on to the reports of special committees, the Compensation Committee. Mr. Fields.
I'll just report progress.
Very good. Any questions? I would like. I know they're busy, that's for sure. The Friendship Garden Committee, Patty, do we have anything?
Yes, sir. I would like to, how long is that audit meeting going to last on the 18th?
We're going to have 4 committees that night.
Okay, disregard. I would like to call a meeting to discuss this memorial. The granite has been purchased. I wanted everybody to know that. The price includes the approximate 40 names that are going to be added, or some kind of a designated change that needed to be had. Like, for instance, somebody that had 15 years and now they have 25, for instance, will get, or 50 years will get an asterisk or something. But at any rate, there are 40 people that I need to get information on. Well, not all of them. I have some of their beginning and ending dates, but there are some people that we don't have dates for. So we need to do some research on that. The granite, along with the approximate 40 names, was $4,579. And so far, if anybody else knows of anyone that we have missed or forgotten over the years, please bring it to our attention. But we need to get together as a committee. And
can you send a list out to us to let us know who's on there that we may not see somebody's name that
should
be on there?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Do you want to come in on the 28th, the 4th Tuesday of this month? Or would you rather put it off to the regular committee meeting in March?
Let's just put it off. I mean, we'll be canceled anyway. Sorry, Ed.
That was a nice one.
Any questions? You've heard the reports of standing and special committees. I'll entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Mr. Burke, second by Mr. Dunoff. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's now time for the reports of representatives. Do we have any representative reports from the groups? Yes, Corinne?
Clean Up Erlanger Committee. We've been working really hard on cleaning up Erlanger. Anyway, we would like to schedule, I'm hoping this is one of the 4 you were talking about for the 18th.
Wasn't Mark?
Yes.
An ordinance on rental properties to go over that on the 18th.
That's on the 18th.
Okay.
It's one of the 4. Anything else? Ms. Cahill.
OKI, I'm sitting on that board. I'm also on the Kenton County Advisory Committee. We had our first meeting. We did send out to Dave and to Rick and to Mark some information that came out of that. So we're kind of taking a look at it and see what we have some options and working with OKI and some funding out there. So.
Thank you. Any questions? Anybody else? Yes, Renee?
I wanted to report a little bit on the Kent County Alliance. We had the town hall meeting over at Dietz Auditorium. It's probably been at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago with all the weather and stuff in there. Had a great turnout, a lot in attendance. They had little booths kind of set out in the, I guess, the gymnasium, and people could walk through and sign up for email notifications, different information on the heroin epidemic in northern Kentucky. The one thing that stands out in my mind, and I'll just be very brief with it, is that with heroin, it only takes one time to be addicted. It's just amazing. And they're starting like in junior high.
Any questions? Yes, Patty.
You know, after I attended that meeting, which was very, very well done, it really deeply concerned me that we are not starting our DARE programs until the children are like 12 and 13 years old. And I just wondered if there isn't some kind of a program that we could just at least crack the door open for the younger children. Neither one of my granddaughters had ever heard of heroin. But I know that they're starting in 4th and 5th and 6th grades now. I mean, our world has changed. Terrible, terrible change.
We'll look and see if there are some programs. We can talk to Dr. Burkhardt about that too.
Okay.
One of the talking heads on the television, I watch Morning Joe in the Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski in the mornings, and they had one of the people talking about this. And one of the solutions was start educating children in early elementary school. Same thing you said.
Oh, okay.
So you're not off base. There's a national discussion on that right now.
I'm off base, but
yeah, not on that. Not on that.
Thank you very much.
And finally, the mayor's group meets this Saturday. Mr. Fields and I will be going. Hopefully, they will be appointing the representatives to the governance committee. Mark will discuss that here in a moment. Any other groups? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports of city operations. City engineer, Ms. Viox.
Yes, sir. I'd like to discuss the situation with our snow removal and support the Public Works Department. I know they've received some criticism. You all didn't mention it tonight, but there's been some criticism for them plowing the streets and pushing the snow up on the sidewalks. They understood the situation. They understood the plunging temperatures and the volume of snow that was going to be dealt with. And it's very important not only to get the snow off the streets for the safety and movement of traffic, for the citizenry and for the emergency vehicles, but there is another reason. And they understand it, and I think other people should understand it. If you don't get the snow completely off the street and it stands for a long period of time, especially with plunging temperatures, the frost gets underneath the streets in the soil and causes the streets to heave up. If you don't get all the snow off, the area that's covered by snow is insulated from the plunging temperatures. And then if you don't accomplish that, when the finally snow thaws, the street is now totally lifted up from the frost underneath, but it's only lifted up by the area between where the snow was. And then we get the garbage trucks and the heavy vehicles going back on the street, and the outside edge of the street is not supported by the soil until it thaws out. So by them removing all the snow as much off the street as possible, and that's another issue Ms. Kyle brought up about the cars that don't allow them to occur, that area will be impacted, and when the snow melts off and the street's still supported by the area that was cleared, there's going to be a lot of cracking in this pavement this year. We saw it happen back in the 70s when we had this kind of condition, and it'll happen again. It's not something that's going to be a major deterioration of the street, but you're going to see issues with the streets where they weren't able to get the snow off, and they knew that, and they made a strong effort to try to get as much snow off the streets as possible, not only for the citizenry and emergency vehicles, but for the life of the streets. So I just want you to understand that. Thanks.
Any questions of Mr. Viox? Okay, our city attorney, Mr. Wickman.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Any questions of Mr. Wickman? CAO, Mr. Fields.
The city received a grant this week. It's from the KLC Insurance part, safety grant. It's going to be 3 police tasers and 2 outdoor cameras, which I believe are going to be used in the parks for surveillance. Is that right, Chief? We got those. It's good news. The mayor alluded to the mayor's group meeting. This Saturday, they're supposed to name the committee for the continuance of this Kenton County governance study. We have nominated Ms. Becky Hopkins to represent the city of Erlanger. That's the only name we put in. So hopefully out of the 18 appointees, we'll get one of those. We met with staff, the mayor. We all felt that Ms. Hopkins was the appropriate person to represent us in this. So hopefully she gets on that committee. I know she probably doesn't hope so, but a lot of work in that one, but we thank her for being willing to serve. The building committee that was appointed last month by the mayor, we met last night. I'd just like to report progress on that one. We're looking at some alternatives for the next building project for the new firehouse. So hopefully we'll be able to report something very shortly and bring all the council into it. But we met, I thought it was a very productive meeting, and I thank those committee members for coming in last night. We continue to work on all the things that I've been reporting on weekly to you. The policies, the evaluations, the job descriptions, all those things are in progress. We would like to add another committee meeting on the 18th. It'll be brief, hopefully. We've already got the IT scheduled that night. Now the audit's on there. The landlord ordinance is on there. We would like to review one policy that night, a policy update that we would like to present to council that we had talked about before for your review. So we'd like to add that one other item to the agenda for the 18th. I know we all been talking about the good job that the Public Works has been doing, and they have been doing a phenomenal job. All the departments have. People have been coming to work, getting here in that snow and ice. It's good. I walked outside last week after the big snowstorm, and I looked at Rod Snow's car, and it was covered in ice. And I said, Rod, I said, it doesn't look like your car's moved. And he goes, no, he said, I didn't go home last night. I stayed here. He said, because I knew that if I went home, I wouldn't be able to get back in the morning. That's the kind of dedication that these people are showing, these employees. I want to thank him for that. It took me by surprise to think, he took that all on his own, stayed here so he'd be here in the morning to help clean these sidewalks and everything off so people could get in this building. I thought that was outstanding. I wanted to recognize him for that one.
Rod, if you're back there watching us on television.
Thank you.
Thumbs up.
Kudos.
He's back there. One other thing, and I don't have the whole announcement here, but I understand that I would like to tell everybody that I believe our city attorney was named the St. Henry Alumni Member of the Year here recently. And I had the whole article, and I do not have it with me tonight, but it taunted his community service. We all know that Frank does and goes way beyond everything. And it talked about all the good deeds that he does in this community outside of here and on his own personal time. And I'd like to thank him because I'm telling you, if you didn't get an opportunity to read it, it talks glowingly about some of your accomplishments. And we thank you, and we're proud to have you here. Thank you.
I'll add one thing to Mark's report. He went with me last night and assisted me, frankly, to go to the Kenton County government class that the county attorney puts on every year. Last night it was held at the Taylor Mill City Building. I was asked, this is about the 3rd or 4th year in a row, I was asked to speak as a mayor of a middle-sized city. They have, Larry Klein's been there in the past, talk about Covington, and usually it's Mayor Bell and Jill Bailey, and they were there last night to speak to the small group, but it was, I'd say they had 20-some people in the room. A couple of them were from Erlanger. Again, kudos to you all on the streets. That's all they said. And when I told a very abbreviated version of the dispatch story, I had 2 or 3 people look at me and say, we've never heard your side of the story. We didn't know that. I said, well, it's old history. Yeah. It's over with. Yeah. We now have a very good dispatch system for Erlanger, Crescent Springs, and Ellesmere. Anyway, you all have heard the reports of city operations. I'm going to entertain a motion to be adopted as presented. Motion by Ms. Sudkamp, second by Ms. Pitts. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Hoffman, do we have any more correspondence than what we've heard this evening?
Yes, sir. The city received a card from the family of Bromley City Councilman Dan Gardner. Mr. Gardner recently passed away, and the card expressed their appreciation for the City of Erlanger's expression of sympathy. The city also received a card from Erlanger Code Enforcement Board member Paul Gronefeld. His wife also recently passed away, and Mr. Gronefeld thanked the city for their thoughts and prayers. The city received an email from Erlanger Historical Society board member Pat Hahn. She thanked everyone for thinking of her while she was in the hospital. Mayor Rouse received a letter from Sister Renee Langnecker. Sister Renee was in an accident in Erlanger, and 3 Erlanger residents came to her aid and called for the ambulance. She asked that that our minutes reflect that our citizens in Erlanger surely proved themselves as concerned citizens when she fell on the ice. And Mayor Rouse received an email from Sean Anderson, founder of Extra Mile America. He thanked Mayor Rouse for going the extra mile and declaring November 1st, 2013 Extra Mile Day in Erlanger. And Rick Bogard received an email from resident Eric Rolfe. Mr. Rolfe thanked the Public Works Department for their hard work in keeping the roads clear during the intense winter weather. He also thanked the city personnel for their help in supporting the Public Works drivers.
Is there any other correspondence this evening? Yes, Tom.
Yeah, actually, I did have something, I think, Mark. Are we going to have the Grace Academy signage on the 18th?
Oh, that's right. Yes. So we need to add another one. Yeah. The sign request.
Bring some sandwiches.
Sure. We'll bring sandwiches. Yes. Yes. Right. We knew there was another one, and we were thinking about what that was. You were exactly right. You're exactly right. The sign request.
They're going to have some folks here just to give us a quick, I told them they did. I can tell them they don't need to be here, and we can make it quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
The sign request, absolutely.
Okay, any other correspondence? Now's the time we reserve on our agenda for comments from citizens. We have one this evening. Tyson Hermes would like to address council. Please go to the podium and the microphone.
He's one row from there.
Good evening.
Good evening. I wasn't expecting to come up to the podium in the interest of time. I just wanted to echo the same sentiments that I've been hearing from a lot of other people regarding Public Works. They did such a fantastic job keeping our street cleared and continuously salted. And they did such a great job. It was hard for my wife and I to figure out why the kids were off school so much.
Thank you. That is a puzzle sometimes. Do we have any bids this evening? Ms. Hoffman, Mr. Viox?
No, sir.
Do we have any reports of work in progress?
I don't know if it's a work in progress, but the last email I got from Officer Miles, he was in the United States. Is he now home?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's home. He's home. I think we ought to welcome that man home. He spent a couple of tours over in Afghanistan. It's glad to have him back home.
I agree. We'll try to set something up, unless the police have already done it.
They had a welcome home party for the family
March 8th. Okay, we'll have a welcome home to this family after that. That's good when they come home safe, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Any new business for the good and welfare of our city? Mr. Howard.
Yes, Mayor. I guess it's more for the cleanup committee more as anybody. I know when all this snow and ice and everything comes out, Erlanger, a lot of cities around us are going to look pretty dirty. And I know in the past we've designated a month out of the year to have a cleanup day, a cleanup month. And I was wondering if we might want to begin to look into redoing that as a possible time to be able to clean up Erlanger month or something to that effect. So,
Bill, that's a great idea. With the couple winters we've had where it hadn't been too bad, it hasn't stuck out like a sore thumb. But this year it will. When this stuff melts, there's going to be debris everywhere. And we'll look into that, and maybe we'll do it. March might be too early the way this winter's going.
Well, I know that, yeah.
But maybe we'll do it in April. But Mark, we'll look into that, okay? Good point. Thanks, Bill.
All right.
Anything else? Okay, legislation. Mr. Wickman.
Yes, sir. First item is a municipal order of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, making the written determination required by KRS 82.083 for the sale or other disposition of property owned by the city. Attached to it is a schedule of the property and the statutory requirements.
The motion is to adopt the municipal order. Is there a motion? Mr. Dunoff?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I will sign said municipal order. Mr. Wickman.
Next item is a municipal order of the City Council of the City of Erlanger in Kenton County, Kentucky, approving the reappointment of Tim Herman, James V. Ox III, and Paul Gronefeld as members of the Code Enforcement Board of the City of Erlanger.
The motion would be to adopt the municipal order. Motion by Ms. Sudkamp, second by Ms. Pitts. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're back on again, Jim.
What do you say, Jim?
Thank you.
Mr. Wickman. You're welcome.
Final item is a resolution supporting the publication of local government legal advertisements in newspapers to allow advertisement on the city-maintained websites that are accessible to the public.
This is a resolution, I think it is in support of some legislation that's pending in Frankfurt, isn't it?
It is. It provides the city with an alternative to newspaper publications.
As we all know, well, as most of us all know, the newspaper, they gouge us.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive proposition for something these days fewer and fewer people are reading because fewer and fewer people are getting the newspapers, and this is something to assist with the General Assembly. It is. I'll take a vote on it. Everybody here will need to sign it if you agree with it. What do you have, newspaper? Yeah.
That's what they look like.
We're the only people in Erlanger that get it, I'm sure.
That's the recorder. Oh, it's the paper.
A motion to adopt the resolution. Motion, Mr. Dunoff, second by Ms. Skidmore. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will sign this. I ask each of you to stop by the podium up here and sign it on your way out. Okay. Is there any other legislation, Mr. Wickman?
No, sir.
That brings us to the end of the agenda. Is there anything else we need to bring to anybody's attention? We will see you here next week for a whole bunch of committee meetings. I entertain a motion we adjourn. Motion by Ms. Pitts, second by Ms. Kyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you all very much.